Hello, welcome to episode 28, the final episode of Dick Moby, my apparently endless unreading of the great American novel of 1851, Herman Melville's Moby Dick. This has been going on for far too long, and so tonight we're going to finish the entire book, what's left of the book. I know we're only halfway through. I know we've only done 67 chapters, whatever it is, of 135 and an epilogue. But fear not, my motivation has never been higher. We're going to finish this tonight. I have red wine, my favourite flavour of wine. There it is. That can only help. It's excruciatingly hot, but it's still not hot enough for me to take my hat off. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. I think we need to crack on and get this finished. I think this is hanging over us all now. It's starting to drag on. Lockdown has been lifted. The whole point of this was to keep you happy during lockdown, was to help you pass the time and keep your mental health and my mental health on an even keel through these difficult times. But now the virus has gone away. Everything's fine. We can all go out. You know, the soft plays are opening, so you can go and, I don't know, infiltrate a soft play, if that's what you enjoy doing. I have kids, I'm allowed to. It might not appeal to you. Soft plays aren't open. Pubs are open, but not soft plays. Parks are open, and you can go to a trim trail, but you can't go to a gym. Gyms are right out. Pubs are fine, but not gyms. But you can go and do a trim trail in the park as long as you don't drink in the park. But on the trim trail, I can't follow it. Still, even though lockdown has now ended, and we can all do anything we want, you should still give money to the National Video Game Museum with the link down there. It's not a link you have to type it in. But that's all right. You know, you can pick up the slack there. You can do some typing for yourself. It's only, 6 characters, the nvm.org. So I guess, 10 characters, including the full stop there, the dot. The nvm.org. Type that in, go and give some money to the National Video Game Museum. They're reopening soon. I saw them today advertising for people to work for them again. So they must be reopening if they want to have people work for them. Go and work for them. If you can't give money to them, go and work for them and they'll give you money instead. They can give you some of the money that people should be giving them for me doing this. That'd be great. Also, like and subscribe on wherever you're watching this. There are buttons. Click the buttons. Everyone likes buttons. I'm gonna get on with this now because we're never going to get through 66 chapters of this in one day if I don't actually get on and make some progress. So let's do that. At the end of the last episode, when we were raided by a cursed raid from my friend Nick on Twitch, and so it overran by 10 minutes. We reached this stage of this incredibly racist dialogue in which Herman Melville has seemingly veered into kind of Jim Davidson sketch show territory of putting questionable Fijian accents in the mouths of the characters. I'm going to press on with it. On the understanding that this was written in different times, and blame Herman Melville for any unpleasantness. I do not endorse this nonsense, this horror show. I am merely reading it word for word backwards, from end to start, chapter by chapter, page by page, from now until the end of time, and hopefully robbing it of context and mocking it as we go, because it's terrible. Great American novel, my big fat arse. Let's continue. We reach this point. Soon bury bed go to go, and we're going to crack on from there. This chapter is enormous though, so well, bear with it. We're going to be a while through this chapter, but then after that they're going to fall like dominoes. Except that I've lost my place. Here we go. Yes, soon bury bed to go. Cook to go to, expect you do where? Stubbs said. Eh? Now just did you as lie dreadful as such me tell, and here come you yet, and cook You have, fellow creatures beloved, his as hearers his, addressing parson holy, overheard doubtless you wear. Cape Town in church holy, a past life you're in once have you and. Sullenly man old, the said. Cape Down, I can't even get the name of the place right. He's got it right once. I blame the editor for that more than anything. There, you see, it's right there. A good editor should have picked that up, I think. Maybe he didn't have a good editor. If he had a good editor, this entire book would have been reduced to about 30 pages. Cape Down in once one past. Church the two belong you do. More once himself squaring, Stubb said, Cook. What? Juicy berry, juicy. Taste ebber I teak, cooked best. Muttered negro old the. Moment afore it over lips withered, his smacking faintly. See, it's just, I really don't like it. I don't like this at all. It's making my skin crawl. There were examples earlier in this unreading, throughout what we've done so far, of racially questionable language, which I skated over. It wasn't dwelled on. I pointed it out and mocked it to some extent. But I think we can all agree it's a bit unpleasant. We don't like it, right? But this chapter has been just incessantly horrible, and it's starting to get me down. I just want to get through it. Let's just take a deep breath, brace ourselves. Obviously, I can't take a deep breath and brace with the breath in indefinitely because I have to read it. I could do. But at some point, I have to actually carry on reading it, as much as I don't want to. It taste and it take him toward tongues the holding. Say I, it take. Be should it as cooked steak that think you if me tell and? There steak of bit that take now. Tongues those me hand here. Cook back come. Depart around turning, angrily growled he. One noda cook I if sol my breast. Yet whale steak a cook to how no don't you? Again overborn be and home go must you. Cook to coming I'm what you tell I'll but cook didn't you know? Sharply cried he, country Roanoke d'ye say I didn't? Cook in born were you country what no to want I but. Two queer that's ferry boat at in born. Roanoke de ober going sorry, nearly wasn't as racist as I needed to be. The Roanoke de ober going ferry boat in hatchway de hind. Cook born you were where? Questioned the of continuation as seemed morsel that so. Word last the at mouthful another bolting rapidly. Whale steak a cook to how yet no don't and cook years 101 upon hard world this in lived have you and. Muttered gloomily he, say day 90 bout. Cook, you are old how silence. Testily black old the said. Deek de wid do dat. Oh, this is awful. Teek d wid do dat what? Jesus Christ. Cook, you are old how? Place first the inn. Stake this of subject the to back go now shall I. Meanwhile freely himself helping Stubb said, well. Position desired the in tongs his upon over stooping again, Fleece said, Dention all. Attention particular pay and me against over. There, before stood you where just stand. capstan that at supper, his resuming, Stubb said, "Cook now. Die den and bust day till bellies damn your fill. Can you ever as row damnedest de up kick fellow critters cust?" Cried and voice shrill his raised mob fishy the overhands both holding fleece this upon. Supper my to away I'll and fleece benediction the give so opinions same the of about am I soul my upon. Eber and eber for more know all at noting here can't. It's even hard to read. It's so racist I can't read it. All at notting here can't and coral d on sleep to fast go. See d in sink day den for den you here want day full get do day when and bottomless is bellies dare and full is bellies dare till call you as guttons damn such too a preachin use no word one here don't day Stubb massa odor each slapping and scourging a keep willains damn duh ongoing use no on go Christianity that's yeah, quite. Stubb cried, "Fleece old done well." Excuse me. I still have this persistent cough. I had a persistent cough for like 6 weeks now. Whenever I've done this, it must be selective coronavirus that only affects me when I try to read out loud for an hour. Themselves help to scrouge d into get can't dat sharks ob fry small d for blubber d off bit to butt with swallow to not is moot de of brigness de dat so belly small d has sometimes moots mouths brig d den but this is ridiculous. Does Dan Brigger Mount Brig Berry has you owe some no I else one some to belong whale dat to right d has you on none go by and whale dat to toda as right dude. He's a right dude, this whale. A right dude shark one not is. Say I, mount neighbours, you're out blubber deterring me don't. Well, that I can't do it, sorry. Well, this would be hard enough to read forwards. Whale dat from yourselves, helping Sybil B to wants to try just brethren here look now. Oh my words, this is awful. Gob and well shark d dan more noting is angel all four angel be you den why you in shark d gobbin you if but sartirn sharks is you pint that is that nature wicked dat gobbin to but helped be can't and nature is that for much so ye blame don't I fellow critters. Voraciousness, your oh, this is terrible. Voraciousness. What kind of accent is it that he can't say voraciousness? What is that a real thing? Is that what people from Fiji speak like, or wherever this guy's supposed to be from? He said in the last episode, he said the word Fiji, so that's the closest I can get. He, of course, misspelled Fiji, but you know, at least we have an idea of maybe where in the world this guy's supposed to be from. But do people from Fiji really say things like voraciousness? Voraciousness, fellow critters. Preceded sermon. Oh, it's a sermon. It's a sermon. That's why it's unabashedly racist. Preceded sermon the more once. Gentlemanly to talk, swearing that have won't I? Him collaring, Stubb said, cook. Stubb just wants his tea, doesn't he? Just keep cook. Dare biting and slapping, damn a such upkeep you suppose. Here to tink you how. Tailed the ob slapping damn dat top. Voraciousness dat. This is awful. This is absolutely awful. Voraciousness dat. Fellow critters you to say I yet. Voracious, yeah. Oh, sorry. I can't do it. It's beaten me. It has actually beaten me. Right. I think what we need is to calm down. To calm me down, I'm going to have a little sip of this wine. I think we need something I don't find funny to calm me down. I was thinking this just the other day. I realised that I don't really do many jokes in this show, whatever it is. It's not a show, but you know what I mean. This oral presentation, because I don't really find jokes funny. But I thought to myself, maybe what this needs to liven it up, to keep everybody on track, is some jokes to keep, just to sort of G things along a bit, keep the spirits up in these dark times. By dark times, I mean this chapter. I don't mean anything that's going on in the world today. I'm very positive about what's going on in the world, but I'm not very positive about this chapter. And so I thought we needed some jokes to entertain us, entertain me as much as anyone else. So I wrote down some knock knock jokes that I looked up on the internet. I figure the internet's the source of all knowledge, and maybe 8% of the humour. So I could probably find some good knock knock jokes. So here we go. I'm going to read. Whenever I'm flagging, whenever I'm struggling a little bit, I need to calm down. I need to reset the old brain there to carry on. I'm going to read a knock knock joke from the internet. This was from a list of 100 best knock knock jokes. I read them all to find the best ones. There were 8. I wrote 8 down because the other 92 I couldn't actually see that they constituted jokes at all, and there were several repeats in there as well. Unfortunately, I don't think that clickbait article was particularly well curated and edited. But now I do have. For you, I've whittled it down to the best 8 knock knock jokes on the internet. Here we go. Joke number 1. Knock knock. Oh, you can't. Knock knock. Who's there? Hawaii. Hawaii who? I'm fine. Hawaii you. Hawaii you. I think I've read that right. That's good. Good. Right. Voracious. Wary natur by and. Sharks all is you do. Continued Fleece and. That try. It to coax approvingly, Stubb exclaimed. Right. Fellow critters. Oh no! Fellow critters have been belubed. Fellow critters belubed. Den well. On go, cook no. Go to turning sullenly, yourself him to preach den. That who? Cook, sinners convert to way no that's. Preaching your way that swear mustn't you. Eyes your damn. Yeah, don't swear. Damn's not a bad swear, is it? Damn. We have made a couple of errors with swearing with my children recently. We don't really swear around the house, at least not in earshot of the children. I swear, like, on my own. I swear at video games all the time, but I make sure I don't do it in front of the children. But we have made a couple of YouTube-related errors recently. The first of which was my wife showing my children children's television from our youths, and actually probably before our time, thinking about it. But Bagpuss, the original Bagpuss. And we explained the Bagpuss, the character, and Professor Yaffle, and the frog, whatever the frog's name was, Granui the frog, and the mouse organ, the marvelous mechanical mouse organ. We tried to express how great the marvelous mechanical mouse organ was, and the we will fix it, we will mend it, all that. So we said, well, okay, we'll find a video on YouTube and we'll show you Bagpuss, the original Bagpuss. So my wife looked for one and pulled up probably, I don't know, one of the first hits on YouTube when you search for a Bagpuss mouse organ or something like that, whatever the search term was. And the video started out, I mean, it was the original footage, and it said something like, well, what are we going to do? I think Professor Yaffle was talking, so what are we going to do about the broken thing? And the mice in chorus went, we could fuck it up. Very funny, yes. Whoever's talented enough to do a squeaky voice swearing over a children's program on YouTube. Thank you for that, yes. Very entertaining, very educational for my children. And then a couple of days later, I was showing my children jazz music. Because it wasn't jazz music. It started because they like Mario games, Mario video games, Super Mario Brothers. Having said that, they've never played a Super Mario Brothers video game. They've only watched other people play them on Amazon Prime Video, whatever. You can watch playthroughs of these games, and they're quite into that. They quite like watching that. They are getting a Switch for birthdays shortly. And I will only play on it most of the time. But they've never actually played a Mario game. They don't know the history of Mario particularly. They don't, they're aware that it used to be a 2D thing and it's gone haywire with crazy 3D Mario Odyssey and all that. But they're not well acquainted with the history. And I was trying to explain what remixes are and cover versions and so on. And I decided to use the music from Mario, the Mario Brothers theme tune. Dum 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 bum ba dum bum bum ba bum ba bum bum ba, that one. The main one. To explain to them remixing and cover versions and rearrangements of songs and so on. So I pulled up various versions of the Mario theme tune performed by various people. And I could remember I remember there was a drum and bass version from the probably early 2000s that I couldn't find, but I found a different drum and bass version. So I showed them that they could hear the origins of that music, and a few other versions. And then I pulled up a band. I say a band. I don't know if it's a musician or a band or what, called Mr. Bungle, doing a cover version, a live version of the Mario Brothers theme tune, which I'd only ever heard the actual music part of. I'd never seen the band, and I'd never heard the introduction to the band, to this music. I'd only ever heard the music itself as an MP3. So I played the video. Within seconds of it started, the lead singer / I think guitarist in Mr. Bungle, approaches the front of the stage, throws champagne all over himself and screams, "Fuck yeah!" So yeah, that went down well. I still played the music. I mean, the music was good, but I talked over the intro so they didn't catch too much more of the swearing. I forgot how we got onto that. How did we get onto that? Oh yeah, swearing. Swearing. Don't say damn. Don't say damn in front of my kids. My fucking kids. Where were we? Had we slapping damned that top? Yes, we got past there. We'd belubed the critters, hadn't we? Yeah, sway, mustn't you? Eyes your dam. Why, cook? Shoulder the onslap sudden, with word the accompanying. Stub interposed here. Cook! See, he's obsessed. Racket, damn dat stop must you, gore by butt. Hatchings D to up bellies, damn your fill, can you dat say stub massa? Lip de ob smacking, damn dat stop. Hear you? Dare noise, damn dat stop must you, dat say to hear ordered eyes. Fellow critters. Said was that all overheard, behind crawling softly, stubwhile. Sharks the addressing began voice mumbling at inside the over far leaning and. Tongues his flourished solemnly, he hand other the with. Congregation his of view good a get to as so. See the over low light his dropping hand one with, then and. Bullocks the to decks the across limped fleeceold. Lantern offered the taking sullenly. To preach and go, then now. Sideboard his from one snatching. Lantern this take here. Message my deliver and cook away. Voice own my here can I if me blast. Quiet keep must they but, moderation in hand. Civilly themselves help to welcome are they tell. To talk and go cook. Up kicking are they shindy a what? Rare and tough it prefer they see you don't. Side the over now sharks those are there. Tough B must whale steak good be to that say always I don't. Tender to its cook much to steak this beating bean you've. Overdone rather is steak this think you don't. Mouth his to morsel reddish rather a lifting rapidly. Stubb said cook, since it's the only thing he ever says. Play into ear best his bring to us so. Head his inclining sideways time same that at. Over further still back arched his bout he. Cane two-legged his on resting and him before folded hands both with. When sideboard stubs of side opposite the on stop dead to atu came. Command of word the to obedience in and. A long floundered ebony old this. Hoops iron straightened of made were. Fashion clumsy after which tongs his with step his assisting. Along limping and shuffling came. Him called they as fleece old this. Pans other his like scoured well keep not did he which. Knee pans his with matter the something was there. Blacks old many like for galley his from along shambling came. Our unseasonable most at hammock warm his from roused previously been having at glee high full stop please Herman running out of breath. Having at glee high very any in not black old the. Cook, weigh this sail. Cook you, cook. Lance his with stabbing if as. Dish the into fork his darting time same the at and. Supper his for base secure more a form to if as. Further still legs his widening. Careful. Length at cried he. Fleece old that wears. Cook, cook. Lips Epicurean own his of smacking the heeded sharks the than more know. Him nigh so ongoing was that banquet the of mumblings the not heeded stub, yet as but. Devil the conciliating of expediency that and, devil worship of propriety the about decision your suspend then, sight that see never have you if. See at whale ship atu night by moored, whale sperm, our first sperm of the day, excellent. If you haven't seen this before, I have to explain this every time to people who haven't seen it before, like you. We draw sperms on here when we see them. This is the sperm buffer, actually, not the sperm count. This is today's sperm count. I'm going to draw one sperm. There you go. There's one sperm. A nice big sperm. The reason we do this is as a sort of progress bar through the book, because there are 271 individual instances of the word sperm in Moby Dick. And we're drawing them on the big board. There's a big board behind me. And on there are all the sperms that we've encountered so far. Every single one of them. There's about 100, I think there's over 140 now. I've long since lost count, but I'm keeping a rough estimate. And I'll be pleasantly surprised when we run out of sperm and I can clean all the sperm off. But during the course of each episode, I draw the sperms on the sperm buffer, and then on my own time, because I do a lot of work behind the scenes to produce this, I draw the sperms from the buffer, I draw them on the big board, and then I can wipe the buffer clean so it's ready for more sperm next time. That's how this works, a little view behind the curtain there of the process that goes on here. So one more sperm, that's great. We've been going for half an hour. That's one sperm in half an hour. That is nothing like good enough. The record is 17, I think. Is it 17 or 18? 17 sperms in an hour. So we're not quite on track to finish this book in terms of sperms tonight. I still think we're on track to finish it in terms of actual progress, in terms of words. So inevitably we'll find all the sperms eventually, but the sperm count can be illusory. The sperm tends to come in huge globs of sperm. So much so it's a flood that I can't deal with, and I end up just keeping a tally. I run out of patience with drawing the individual sperms. They become a sort of continuum of sperm, if you like, a mass of sperm that can no longer be individually isolated and delineated between the individual sperms. So in between those, we have a bit of a drought of sperm, as we have experienced in the last half an hour. We haven't had any sperm for 30 minutes. 31 minutes into this, we have found our first sperm for the night. So let's keep track. You can follow along, play a little game with yourselves if you like, and see how much sperm you can locate. Whale sperm dead at around than. Spirits jovial more or gayer in and. Numbers countless such in them find will you when occasion or time conceivable know there is yet. Feast hilariously most and. Congregate socially. Don't. Please don't. I know lockdown's finished, but don't congregate socially if you can help it. Stay indoors for everybody's benefit. Congregate socially most to sharks when occasions and places terms set the touching down set be might instances like other two or one though and buried decently be to slave dead at or anywhere carried be to his parcel a case in handy be too. Alongside trotting systematically, Atlantic the crossing ships slave all of outriders invariable, they are also sharks though and. Excuse me. Parties all for enough business sharkish shocking say to is that, things same the much pretty be still would it, down upside a fair hole the turn to you were, though and meat dead the at table the under away carving quarrelsomely, are mouths jewel hilted therewith, also sharks the tasseled and gilded, all carving knives with meat live, others each carving cannibally thus are deck table the over butchers valiant the while though and. Them to tossed is that man killed every down bolt to ready, carved being is meat red where table around dogs hungry like. Decks ships the to up gazing longingly seen be will sharks. Sea fight of diabolism of diabolism and horror smoking the all amid though. Shall we have a joke? I think we need to cheer ourselves up after all the horror smoking. Let's see. Oh yeah, I got one here. Knock knock. Who's there? Voodoo. Who do you think you are asking so many questions? Voodoo, you think you are asking so many questions? Voodoo? Who do you think you are? Voodoo, hoodoo. I get it. I get where they're going with that. Well, that's cheered me up. Screw aff or countersinking in carpenter are by made hollow the to likened be best may. Whale the on leave thus they mark the things all of problem universal the of parta remains, mouthfuls symmetrical such out gouge to contrive they. Surface unassailable apparently and such at how, miraculous but all seems shark the of feet particular this. Head human at of bigness, the of whale, the of pieces glob. I love how he just occasionally throws in a Trumpism. The bigness of the whale of pieces globular, huge out scooped they as backs there on overturning and. Waters black, sullen the in wallowing, them heard you before as. Them see just could you side the overpeering. Hearts, sleepers, the of inches few are within, hull the against tails there of slapping sharp the by startled often were bunks therein below sleepers few there. Fatness it's on feasted smackingly. Where's this word smackingly? He's not used the word smackingly in 67 previous unreading chapters of this, and all of a sudden he can't stop saying smackingly. It's like one of his friends, he was in the pub, one of his friends said smackingly, which was he'd never heard before, and he found it hilarious, and now he's going to use it all the time. And by the time he wrote the following chapter, he'd completely forgotten about it again. Crazy drunk. Leviathan dead, the round swarming. Sharks of thousands on thousands. Mastications, careful. Own his with mumblings their mingling. Easy for you to say. Night the flesh whales on banqueter only their stub was gnaw. Sideboard our capstan that if as capstan head the at supper spermaceti, that counts. That counts. As a sperm. I'll draw it shortly. Supper spermaceti his to upstud stoutly stub. Oil sperm, 2 sperms in quick succession, there we go. Oil sperm of lanterns 2 by lighted and cooked and cut was steak that midnight about. Better draw those 2 sperms. Here we go. There's one. Going sort of sideways. And then, just going for a head-on collision. There's another one. Going that way. Boom. I imagine them all to have individual characters and, a little soap opera going on in Spermland. I don't know if that's where they live. I know it's not a Mr. Man book where, Mr. Happy lives in Happy Land and Mr. Well, usually it's not quite true, is it? Mr. Happy does live in Happy Land or whatever it's called. That's not quite true, though. A lot of them start out the books living in a place that's entirely inappropriate for them to live, isn't it? So Mr. Quiet lives in Loudland, where everything is loud, excruciatingly loud, and for him it's terrible because he can't get his sausages. Because as we know, the way to order this is from reading Mr. Noisy. The way to order sausages or anything, in fact, in the butcher's is to yell, "I would like a piece of meat." And Mr. Quiet can't do that. He goes, "Excuse me, I would like a piece of meat, please. Please, can I have a piece of meat? I am so weak, I haven't had meat in weeks. I need meat, please give me some sausages." And the butcher goes, "Huh? Huh? Next, please." Like that. That's basically the whole story of... Sorry to spoiler it for you if you're looking forward to reading Mr. Quiet. That's the whole story of Mr. Quiet, is he can't get his cornflakes, he can't get his sausages, he can't get his stamps at the post office because everybody's too loud and he's too quiet. So you would think there's an obvious solution to this, isn't there? There's probably a land called Quiet Land or something. He can go there instead. But instead he goes to Happy Land and meets Mr. Happy and cheers himself up in Mr. Happy and gets a job in the library in Happy Land. Now I wonder if that's still too loud for him. I know Loudland is way over the top. That's way too loud. But even Happy Land, I mean, there's people joking, there's people laughing. acting the goat, running about the place, ebullience on show there in Happyland. And it's infectious. I mean, Mr. Miserable, who isn't an official Mr. Man, but he appears in Mr. Happy, he becomes almost drug-addled. So happy does he become by the end of that his month in Happyland. But I wonder if the incessant joking, the incessant laughing, the making merry, would be still too much for Mr. Quiet. I think he wouldn't be as happy as if he went to Shushland or wherever quiet people do live in the Mr. Men cinematic universe. I mean, imagine what would happen if Mr. Quiet were to hear a joke like this. Knock, knock. Who's there? Amish. Amish who? You don't look like a shoe. I mean, I would imagine the applause would be too much for him, wouldn't it? But that's at that point. So I think he'd probably move out. At least he can get his sausages. So that's something. Where was I up to? I've completely forgotten. Oh yes, here I was. Cooked and cut was the steak. Body the of extremity tapering the comprising. Stub by designated whale sperm. Oh my goodness, it's a flood. It's a flood all of a sudden. I'm just going to draw this one off camera here. You can trust me, I am drawing the sperm. I'm not just pretending, I'm not just doing that over. I might as well draw it if I go to the trouble of doing that. I've taken the lid off. I might as well draw the thing. I did draw the thing. There he is. Although he has apparently a detached flagellum. So he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. It's not going to be him. That's not Daddy. That's sperm. Whale sperm, the of part particular, that for relish. Ew, whale sperm for relish. Genuine have who Nantucketas, these of some find you then and now yet. Voyage the of proceeds, the realizing proceeds? Voyage the of proceeds, the realizing before least at. War the of expenses current, the defray enemy the make. Maxim military, great the two according and thing general as. Not do fishermen wild, these though that, known it be here. Small his from one me cut and, go you overboard, dagu you, sleep I air, steak Palate his to thing flavorish, as whale the of fond intemperately somewhat was he. Liver high ours stub, manifest strangely made soon was, stub in liveliness this all of cause helping, small one. Affairs of management sole the time for him to resign quietly, superior official his. Starbuck stayed that he in was, that in he, I got that wrong. Stayed that in he was bustle unwanted and such. Excitement good-natured, still but unusual and betrayed. Conquest with flushed, mate second his, stub, deck unknown be could as far so least at. Quiescence saw now was Ahab moody if. Okay, so I get it. Mate second his, stub. So stub is the commander data of Ahab's crew, right? If Ahab were Picard. I'm not sure who Riker is. And I guess Flask is Councillor Troy. Now, complexity. A footnote. But luckily, this footnote is a footnote from here. As happens more often than not, Herman Melville's footnotes occur immediately after the thing that they are annotating. Which adds no complexity whatsoever. We can just go on reading blindly and ridiculously. Lobes or flukes broad, it's with junction of point the at. Tail the of part smallest, the round fast locked last at is. Body the along slipped being and. Suit follow to made readily is chamber. Whale the girdled having now that so. Mast the of side other the on rise to made is float wooden the management adroit by. Ship the to secured is end other the while. Middle it's in weight at end outer it's at float wooden. With prepared is line is line strong. Small a. Overcome ingeniously is difficulty this but. It round chain the put to order in. Boat the from it at get cannot you hand the with that so. Surface the beneath low sink to it causes. Death in even flexibility it's. Side fins the accepting. Other any than heavier relatively is part that density greater it's from as and. Tail or flukes the by is, alongside moored when whale the upon has ship the which hold reliable most and strongest the. Here related be well as may item little a. I'm just concerned that this footnote may actually continue through the rest of the book. There is a little... Oh, that happens in every paragraph. Does that happen at the end of this paragraph? Yes, it does. So there's no... We can't use the HTTP paragraph tags to detect this. There's no indication really that this footnote couldn't just carry on, because it's not the end of a physical page, is it? It's the end of a digital paragraph. So maybe these footnotes in the original text don't actually appear right next to the thing that they're annotating. Maybe I'm being hard on Herman. Maybe I should start calling my erection hard on Herman. That would please my wife no end. Standing remains other the while reclines one whereof. Bullocks colossal like together yoked seemed. Whale and ship to the aloft rigging and spars the obscured witch. Night the of darkness the through seen and vessels the to close hull black its with lies now whale the. Bows the to tail the by and stern the to head the by tide. Moored be to is. Ship the knot itself corpse vast the. Links clanking those by but. Portholes the of out rattling thrust and. Deck the along dragged being our chains heavy for. Deep the in anchor cast to preparing were hands all that. Decks pequods the on sound the from thought have would you soon very. Object monomaniac. Grand his advanced jot not one would that all. Ship his to brought were whales other thousand atho and. Slain be to yet was Dick Moby, that him reminded body dead, that of sight the if as. It's remarkable. Dick Moby has been now mentioned probably twice in the last 5 chapters, which is really impressive for Herman to circle back on the actual point of this story so frequently, to keep the story moving along. Twice in 5 chapters, the actual antagonist of the entire story is mentioned. After admittedly 60 chapters in which there is no mention of Dick Moby at all. Him in working seemed despair or impatience or dissatisfaction vague some. Dead was creature that now yet. So it called to activity customary his evinced had Ahab captain. Whale this of pursuit the overseeing in though. Oh, look at that! It's the end of the chapter. We're gonna do it. We're gonna finish this entire book in the next 12 minutes. Now that this chapter is done. Sorry to keep going up and down. I'll leave the mouse alone for a second. Look at it. Look, it's a thing of beauty. 11 minutes left now. Morning. Why do I keep doing that? Morning until again frowned. Come not did and cabin the interway his went. Seaman doesn't count. To lantern his handing then and. Night the fort it securing for orders usual the issued he. Moment after whale heaving the eyeing vacantly. Bullocks the over lanterns more several of one dropping Ahab saw we nearer drawing till. Way our guided dimly main rigging pequods the in down and up lights 3 but on came darkness. Well, that's very dramatic, isn't it? On came darkness. Well, with now 10 minutes left to go of this episode, we can easily finish the rest of this book. And with that darker tone coming in, I think we've got time to lighten the mood with a joke. Knock, knock. Who's there? Cereal. Cereal who? Cereal, pleasure to meet you. I don't get that one. Let's try another one. Knock, knock. Who's there? Oswald. Oswald who? Oswald my bubblegum. The mood really has darkened, hasn't it? Bulk in pig lead with laden if as a long forged heavily towed we argosy grand this butt. Hour and mile out of rate the at junk freighted bulky a draw will footpath the on labourers 5 or 4 China in it call they whatever or hang ho of canal great the upon for moved we mass the of enormousness the of furnished hereby was evidence good intervals long at accept all at budge to hardly seemed it and see the in corpse sluggish inert that upon hour after hour toiled slowly fingers and thumbs 80 and 100 one and arms 36 hour the descriptions of whales get worse and worse. Arms 36 hour with men 18 we as now and Pequod the to trophy the towing of business slow the commence. I don't know why I was so taken aback by the word business. It's a perfectly conventional word. I don't know. I just didn't expect to see it in this sentence. It took me by surprise. The towing of business. See, that doesn't make any sense. Unlike the rest of it, which makes perfect sense. Slow the commenced we. Boats 3 of tandem a forming so. Calm how was it? Ship there from distance some killed bean had whale stubs. Supper Stubbs 64 chapter. That whole chapter was about Stubbs' supper. Right? Chapter 64, Stubbs' supper. How long is this chapter? We will find out how long this. I've lost the place. I've gone a whole. Where have I gone? I've gone awry. Good, we've got some fun coming up. The crotch. Right, let's see. This goes on forever and ever and ever and ever, forever, ever, forever, ever, forever. Goes on forever. Look at it. Imagine writing a book where you thought, I'm going to write a chapter. There you go. That's the end of it. It is enormous. Imagine writing a book where you thought, I know what I'll do. I'll write a chapter about a guy having his supper. Right? How long do you think this chapter is going to be? Well, I could probably make it 8,000 words, maybe. Minimum. I can get 8,000 words out of this guy's supper. Oh, yeah. How are you going to do that? Racism. I'm going to do it by just loads of racism. Ugh. At least it's done. At least it's done. And now, we can move on to lighter matters like the crotch. See, if you were describing someone's crotch, I would devote more than 2 pages to somebody's crotch if I was knowingly going to impose a 40-page, a council of Elrond's worth of prose about somebody's fucking meal. His supper. I don't know if I'm not even going to start this. I'm not starting this now, this next chapter. I'm sorry, but it's a bit of a down ending to this episode, I know. But we're done. The darkness is encroaching. I'll polish off these jokes because I've only got a few more, and there's one of these that's very funny. See if you can work out which one it is. Knock knock. Who's there? Water. Water who? Now, water's not a name, is it? Water. See, a lot of these, actually looking at them, none of them. Oswald's the only name we've had. There are two others that have names, right? Knock knock, who's there? Teresa. Teresa who? Teresa R. Green. Now I get that one. That one I get. It's not funny, but I get it. I should have done that one first as like an explainer, because I think maybe the rest of these haven't made a lot of sense to us because we hadn't gone through the kind of tutorial that the Teresa R. Green joke. It's trees, isn't it? That's the joke. Trees are green. Parts of a tree. The leaves of a tree are green. Teresa who? The leaves of a Teresa are green. So that's funny. And then there's this one here. See the others? Hawaii who? Voodoo who? Amish. Cereal. Those aren't even names. Oswald at least is a name, even if the joke doesn't make any sense. Teresa, the joke does make sense. I'm guessing Oswald is an advanced topic. It's, you know, it's a post-grad level knock knock joke, isn't it, Oswald? Let's go for this. Water. Knock knock, who's there? Water. Water who? Water those plants or they're going to die. Is that a threat? That's not a joke, is it? That's just a threat. Water those plants or they're going to die. I mean, if you replace water, I mean, the water and plants in this joke could be replaced with anything. It wouldn't get any funnier. I mean, water's just a noun, right? Knock knock. Who's there? Orphans. Orphans who? Hang on, I've got that wrong. Let's go the other way. Sorry, I've misunderstood. I switched the things. Knock knock. Who's there? You see where I'm going with this, right? Feed and clothe. Feed and clothe who? Feed and clothe those orphans or they're going to die. Knock knock. Who's there? Hide. Hide who? Hide your wife or she's going to die. I don't... Is it deliberate? Is it one of these where it's like a shock joke? Is it... I'm not finding that very shocking. I just find it a bit... I mean, it's bad enough if plants are going to die, but orphans... Leave the orphans out of it. Teresa Green, we've had that one. This is my favourite. If only because out of all the possible words that someone's come up with, they've come up with a ridiculous name. I don't know how many they rejected before they settled on this. Knock knock. Who's there? Mike Sniffer Pippets. Mike Sniffer Pippets who? How many Mike Sniffer Pippetses do you know? Which is a fair question, right? If your name was quite unique, then you'd be well within your rights. But the joke falls down because no one would say... Because the problem is that the surname, as funny as Sniffer Pippets is, it's a very funny surname, I'll give them that. It's like something out of Dickens, right? But if someone told you their full name in the first place, you wouldn't ask who, right? Let's pick a random person, Charlotte Church, right? If someone came to your door and said, knocked, and you said, who is it? And she said, it's Charlotte Church. Would you go Charlotte Church who? Expecting her to have another name that she hasn't yet told you. It just seems crazy. Charlotte Church School. I mean, it's recursive as well. You could just carry on. Charlotte Church School who? Charlotte Church School Assembly. Charlotte Church School Assembly who? Charlotte Church School Assembly for Key Stage 1. You could carry on forever. So none of those jokes work. I'm quite angry about those jokes now. I've angered myself. You don't look like a shoe. Nonsense. I think we're done for the night. Are we done for the night? I think we've probably eked this out as long as we possibly can. And I've done an hour. And if I stay here any longer, I risk someone turning up like Nick in the chat and making me carry on. So I'm going to stop immediately. It remains to say, give money to the National Video Game. All the things that I have to say to be a successful streamer. What was that? That was chapter 64. That was a behemoth of a chapter. We're done. Chapter 64, 63 easy chapters next time. So next time, I know we didn't quite finish the book this time, but episode 29, join me next Tuesday for episode 29, when I promise we will finish the book. I promise. I've looked ahead now. Look, this chapter's quite short. This chapter's quite short. So, you know, we're bound to finish the book on Tuesday. So come along and find out the thrilling conclusion, or I guess the thrilling introduction, I should say, to Moby Dick, to this awful novel. But we will soon have evacuated it from our minds by unreading it. So do that. Until then, I'm going to stop because I'm done. I'm going to go and drink the rest of this wine and watch Star Trek and try and play N++, which is slowly killing me. But my kids love it. One of my kids is surprisingly good at it, actually. Disturbingly so. He's going to start running at walls next. He's already broken his foot once, jumping off the sofa. So I'll have to watch him. Don't want him to get big ideas. Yeah, nobody get big ideas. Let's evacuate all these ideas from our heads. Come along on Tuesday. We'll dumb ourselves down some more. Good night.